A Republican stimulus package is debuted. Trouble with MLB right off the bat. Oprah has a new show. Trouble on the Ellen DeGeneres show as well. What's with that purple Lambo on South Beach? And Biden will announce a vice presidential running mate this weekend. Good morning, and this is Mornings LALATE. Hey everybody, this is LALATE and welcome to Tuesday morning. Hope you're having a great morning, enjoying the coffee and getting your day started out right. A lot of big news today, so let's get right to it. Overnight, the Republican stimulus package was debuted. It is the counteroffer to the Democratic stimulus package, and the names are sort of ironic. Tyler Perry has for you that show, The Has and the Has Not. Well, I have for you the show, The Heroes and the Heels. The Democrats' proposal is called the Heroes Act, and the Republicans' proposal is called the Heels. I didn't come up with these names, but now it's great fanfare for what's to come in the next 7 days. They really only have about 10 days to get this done. And if they don't, which I don't think they're going to, then what's going to happen after that? So let's get right to the details. Stimulus check. Both of them propose a stimulus check. Great news. Both of them have changed and corrected a problem with the CARES Act. Also great news. So let's get to the details of the check. If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, or Railroad benefits, you will get a stimulus check from both of them. It's going to be a little bit different though. So let me get right to what's going on. $1,200 stimulus check is proposed by the heroes to all non-dependents. Same thing with the heels. That's one thing they agree upon. Dependents, under the first stimulus package, got a check if they were minor dependents, 16 years of age or younger, but adult dependents did not get a stimulus check. They weren't eligible for it. Well, this time around, both the heroes and the heels agree that they want to give all dependents a stimulus check. It's the amount that they disagree upon. The heroes propose a stimulus check for all dependents of $1,200. The heels say, no, we are going to keep you at just $500. So if you're 50 years of age and you're on your son's tax return as a dependent, your son will get a $1,200 stimulus check, but the heels only want to give you $500. Next, hazard pay, that really big issue that the heroes propose to give you $10,000 if you worked as an essential worker during the pandemic. This is $13 an hour on top of your normal hourly rate, all the way from the start of the pandemic, actually in January, all the way up through the present, and maybe stepping it down to $5,000 if you made a lot of money last year. That's the heroes' proposal. The heels, after a lot of questioning and wondering, debuted their package yesterday, and there is no hazard pay in it. Really quite shocking. What makes this even more shocking is that not only they're not providing hazard pay, but they're also providing protection the other side to the employer, saying that the employee cannot sue the employer if they're working in a hazardous work environment unless the employer engages in intentional conduct, which is basically sneezing on you. So whereas the heroes want to reward you for working in a hazardous environment, the Republicans don't want to give you anything and want you to prevent you from suing your landlord unless they basically cough in your face. Next, the real shocker that I didn't see coming was rent eviction moratorium. You know, this is a big, hot issue. 20 to 40 million of Americans are facing eviction right now. Half of the states of the United States do not have eviction moratoriums, so landlords are going right to court and evicting people who can't make rent during the pandemic. People who own their homes are losing their homes to foreclosures because those states also do not have what's called mortgage forbearance, preventing foreclosures during the pandemic. There was this protection during the first stimulus package. It ran out. It expired. So the heroes came in with their proposal, which was no evictions until the pandemic settles down, no foreclosures on property owners or homeowners until the pandemic improves. And then yesterday, the Republicans debuted their HEALS Act, which was guided by a president who made much of his early money on apartment buildings with tenants, as did his father. So what is his proposal? Nothing. The evictions may continue, and tens of millions of Americans can be evicted onto the street during the pandemic. Now, this comes literally 24 hours after President Trump's two leading economic officials, Steve Mnuchin, the Treasury Secretary, and Larry Kudlow, the head economic domestic czar, appeared on Sunday morning news 24 hours ago and said the HEALS Act does include a rent eviction moratorium and that the bill is final and ready to go. Well, A, it was apparently not ready to go, and B, they apparently either couldn't remember what was in the bill or changed the bill after they told CNN and Fox News that the president wants an eviction moratorium to protect the citizens from being thrown on the street during the pandemic. Again, it's not in the HEALS Act. Finally, unemployment assistance, which a lot of us have talked about. That's a $600 per week called FPUC, which expired last week. The heroes proposed $600 to continue exactly at $600 a week into 2021 and for it not to be interrupted. Well, the HEALS initially didn't want to give anything. Then they said $100. Well, yesterday they debuted a number. And the number is far worse than as many are actually reporting. It's actually quite worse. So let me tell you how bad it is. The proposal is $200 per week, but only for the month of August, which is really just 4 weeks of $200, $800. After September 1st, the bill proposed by the Republicans, states can apply to the Treasury and say, we can't figure out, or it's too much of a burden, or we don't want to pay any more FPUC, give us a waiver, and the federal government can give it. So in essence, the unemployment benefits of FPUC under the HEALS proposal is 4 weeks at $200 a week, $800, and that is it. The Democrats, on the other hand, propose $600 into next year. Lastly, if you are a student and you cannot make your mortgage obligations, great news, both parties agree upon that. So where are we? These are both proposals that they have to go before both the Senate and the House for approval, and they have less than 10 days, about 9 days to get approval. Will they get it done in 9 days? You know, you can bet on that. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's too short a time, and these bills are very far apart. Next, the bill also had in it, the HEALS Act, a very controversial multi-billion-dollar allocation for a new FBI building, which has nothing to do with COVID-19 relief. But what makes it even more controversial is a new story out this morning that talks about whether or not that building is somehow tied to the Trump family to financially reimburse or make someone a couple pockets of change. So more on that allegation in a story later today. Finally, the second stimulus package from the Republicans proposes to extend PPP. But should it get extended? Well, yesterday afternoon, broadcast news reported that a illustrious individual in South Florida, it seems to be always in South Florida, was arrested for PPP loan violations. During the first round, he got $3.5 million in PPP loan money. And what did he go buy? He bought an orange LAMBO. Immediately, the federal police came in to arrest him, and shortly thereafter, the fashion police came as well, saying, "Why orange?" I want to hear, if you were to use the money to buy a Lambo, what color would you have bought? Needless to say, that man is now enjoying his time behind in custody. Let's get to Biden and his vice presidential running mate. We might not see a stimulus package agreed by this weekend, but we will see a vice presidential nominee. Reports now indicate that Joseph Biden, who is up for the presidential run this fall, is set to announce August 1st, which is this Saturday, his vice presidential nominee. And who is it? The advisors say the deadline could slide and the deadline could get moved, and the deadline could be announced as late as August 17th, but there's new indications it could be announced this weekend. Here are the leading candidates. 3 senators, Kamala Harris, Elizabeth Warren, and Tammy Duckworth. 2 House members are also on the short list, Karen Bass and Val Demings. And 1 person who has never held elected office, Susan Rice, President Barack Obama's former national secretary advisor. A new report today says, quote, Rice's strengths as VP candidate say so much about the strange and kind of strange campaign we're in. In a normal campaign, Democrats would probably be deeply worried about choosing someone who's never been voted upon by voters in an unruly town hall meeting, but those situations are quite different now. Ultimately, if they get revealed on Sunday, you'll hear them first here on LALATE. Baseball is back, and I'm very excited about it, but I'm not excited about how it's being done. An overnight controversy erupted in Florida, where an enormous number of the Florida Marlins tested positive for COVID-19, resulting in cancellation of their game. Now, if you don't recall, Major League Baseball returned in a manner different than the NBA. Major League Baseball had a proposal to operate in what's called a bubble. The bubble is essentially where the players are in a confined, clean environment in which they're tested daily. They do not go back and interact with the general population. So the likelihood of them contracting COVID-19 or exchanging COVID-19 or infecting one another is very low. That's the way that's the way NBA of basketball is being conducted, in a bubble. MLB was offered that and declined it, and hence are playing games now without spectators. But that didn't work this week. After MLB launched on Thursday, 14 members of the Marlins organization, which includes 12 players, tested positive for the virus overnight. This was before the Marlins were supposed to play the Orioles on Monday and Tuesday. That game has now been postponed. A statement was issued by Derek Jeter, the Marlins chief executive, saying the health of our players and staff have been and will continue to be our primary focus as we navigate through these uncharted waters. We're trying to take a collective pause and to properly grasp the situation. But is MLB really grasping the situation correctly? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Should have MLB launched in a bubble, or are they risking their players' health this way? Kansas City Royals first baseman Ryan O'Hearn had a comment about this. He tested positive for COVID-19, and he said, it seems like it's spreading like wildfire. It's definitely a scary situation. Everyone realizes the kind of risk we're taking. Are those risks really worth it? Overnight, I asked people on Twitter, and follow us at LALATE on Twitter, if you would watch simply reruns of Major League Baseball games and have much enjoyment with that as well. I personally would. Here's what I would propose. I would propose to rerun the best games of last season, the same channels that you're running baseball now, and bring in the players to be the color commentaries about their own game with all the trash talking. I think it would be great programming. It would be a lot of fun. And personally, there's so many MLB games in the season. I didn't catch them all last season. So the fact that it's on TV is what we need. Do we need to have new games that risk the health of our players for the sake of 6 months of waiting out or 8 months of waiting out? I don't know. What do you think? You see these comments, they were to be expected, says Yankees pitcher Adam Octavino. To me, it's very well expected. It's just reckless in my opinion, but a lot of guys didn't want to do the bubble. he is talking about that bubble. He suggests that Major League Baseball should have been played in a bubble. I would have been willing to do the bubble, he says, Adam. I thought personally it was a no-brainer, but I don't speak for everyone else. Apparently, it was something they couldn't agree upon. So do you think Major League Baseball should be in a bubble or should otherwise be stopped? Let me hear what you think. Well, Oprah's back. Oh my God, I got competition already. We're 2 episodes into this brand new broadcast. Wow. Thank you for yesterday for tuning in. We broke all records. I never saw anything like it. We broke records for this channel of number of views in first few hours. By the end of the day, we were at 250,000. Our 2-day numbers for this channel over all programming is over 1 million views. It's just incredible. We are being seen now with this morning show more than many, if not most, broadcast syndicated news shows. So really, thank you, and please like and subscribe. But Oprah, why do you have to... How do you have to get on my hustle right now? So Oprah's coming back, just like I'm trying to get my footing here. Darn, I'm just kidding. And she has a new show called The Oprah Conversation. It will be on Apple TV, thankfully. It won't be on this platform. And it's time to bring humanity back in the conversation. I'm personally very excited for Oprah. I adore Oprah. You know, over the weekend we lost Regis Philbin. We lost the Senator, the great Representative Lewis. And there are some people that through their entire lifetime of being on television, they are truly beloved. There's never a moment that we don't dislike them. We absolutely love them, whether it's Regis or Oprah. I can literally watch Oprah morning to night and never get tired of watching Oprah. I just adore watching her. And she's the same person on Instagram as she is on television. Well, she's coming back to Apple TV as the new platform she's going to be on. And it's a time to bring humanity back in the conversation. Adding the discussions will unite us, not divide us. I love that. I mean, the spirit of this channel is to keep one another positive, motivated, and working one another. That's been why we have done so well on the EIDL loans. We have worked as a team, whether the 2 mentors or people coming back and helping one another. It'll start with a 2-part interview with Emmanuel Ako, which hopefully I pronounced correctly. Finally, Beverly Hills Housewives is just heating up with a lot of juicy dirt left and right. If you did not see what happened overnight or later and then the last few days, there's been a lot of twists and turns about the future of this cast. First, there's one report out today which is really not well phrased that suggests that Garcelle is done with the show after 1 season and uses a quote, but in that quote she doesn't say that she's actually gone. She says that she was very disgusted with the reunion which taped just days ago. Of course, that's normal for a freshman to the Real Housewives franchise to wanting to leave. But then there's Brandi Glanville and Denise Richards, and I have an exclusive insight to that as well. Overnight, the fathers of both Brandi and Denise got in on the battle, and they had a lot to say. You know, Denise's father, Irving Richards, appeared on $1 Million Matchmaker back in the day, if you remember him. He's a very charming individual. And he got into the discussion. He says, I found this cute photo cleaning out some boxes. The sisters having fun. It was a picture of Denise. He says, after watching a few Real Housewives of Beverly Hills episodes, I think we've had a damn good job. We've done a damn good job. Stay strong, push forward, don't live in fear. Life is short. Denise reacted to the moment and says, Dad, I love you, Pa. And she captioned RHOBH. Of course, Denise was rumored to have quit the show even before the new season launched. The war of words continue this week as Denise calls Brandi's allegations untrue and Brandi calls Denise's allegations also untrue. I can personally report that Brandi Glanville over the years has actually said untrue statements about other cast members. Back in the day when Celebrity Apprentice aired with a certain person as the host, LALATE spoke exclusively with Kenya Moore, who appeared opposite Brandi Glanville. And during that taping, off camera, Brandi Glanville was telling news that Kenya Moore never wanted to appear on television eating while on Celebrity Apprentice and would hide and go seek whenever given the opportunity to eat because she doesn't eat on camera. Needless to say, I've eaten with Kenya Moore, and she denied that allegation. There were other allegations that Brandi Glanville made against Kenya Moore while that run occurred, and all those allegations were later disputed. So who do you believe in this war of words, Brandi or Denise? And do you want Garcelle back? I personally love Garcelle. I just love her on the show. As you know, LALATE was the one that in a world exclusive last year reported that Bravo was bringing an African American into the show for the first time and was actively looking for someone. We said the age, the location, the background, and it was literally a hammer on the nail. We hit exactly right. So do you think Garcelle should come back? Do you believe Brandi or Denise? And what do you think about everything else that we talked about today? This has been a lot of fun. Later today, we come back with our regular slot of programming. We'll start with the check, SSDI, SSI, Social Security, and Railroad benefits. We'll go into that with specifics. Hazard pay. We will discuss whether or not this battle of the two bills over the next 10 days will end with hazard pay in there or not. Then we'll go over FPUC. If FPUC literally will be the nail in the coffin to not get this package done for either party by end of next week. And finally, rent assistance. That horrible omission by the Republicans. What does it say about a president who is elected to represent all the people, to represent the working Americans, and yet they're allowed to be thrown on the street by their landlords because they can't make rent during a pandemic? A lot of big news and a lot of big twists. We will stay on top of the stories. Thank you for joining us. Join us tomorrow morning around 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another recording of Mornings LALATE.